Hey, what's up? Good evening. You now rocking with the best, the very best. So tonight we're gonna pick up again, and we're dealing with the book Breathing Underwater. Tonight we're gonna go over chapter 3, Hood Karens. Hood Karens is a particular piece that I created, and it deals with men acting like women from an emotional standpoint. Hence the term Hood Karens. I ain't gonna hold y'all tonight. It's a little late. We can get right into it. Drinking from the coconut. Anyhow, let's get back to the book. So we got Hood Karens. This is where I introduce Karenism, a grown man who exhibits the behavior of an erratic white woman. Have you ever thought about what a Karen does? Karens feel entitled and in turn will cause chaos by trying to control others. They usually get excited and emotional with little to no provocation and will lie, intimidate, and threaten those whom they feel superior to. This is the equivalent of how a grown man without his emotions intact behaves. However, as men, our requirements aren't the same. Society responds significantly different to black males displaying Karenisms rather than an actual white woman being a Karen. As men, we can become displeased with ourselves and or circumstances, especially when we have yet to figure out formulas to our problems. There may be few or no outlets discoverable for us to vent our frustrations or obtain counsel. We go through a whole day of up and downs, taking life as it comes with the tools we have. When challenges of life weigh in on us, it can be easy to go back to intimate settings with our families and loved ones, only to terrorize them with arguments, fighting, and a variety of other domestic abuse. That's a flag on the play. This is a textbook version of what a Karen does. This is sure to fracture the family unit. I want to personally applaud the man who leads properly, adds to and cherishes his family. Y'all are needed to remind guys that it's possible to lead a healthier life and get back to winning. Thank you. I want to personally applaud the man. Okay, we just once I called my aunt to pick me up late in the evening as I was getting released from the police station. She came to bring me back into the city. By this time, she had married an old head named Mitch from her church she had been seeing previously to my incarceration. He was always quiet and well groomed. On this night, he rode with her as he probably would have any other night. Mitch wasn't a giant, but he had a presence that required respect. Or maybe his presence was the respect. We made a stop to get gas for the vehicle. My aunt used her card, so she had to get out. Before I knew it, this old man was moving across the vehicle, opening the door for my aunt. I just thought it was the smoothest shit in the world. I hadn't even thought about opening the car door. Saying this lent credence for me to believe that he was a decent man for my aunt. He placed value on her without giving her a piece of jewelry or an expensive item. These gestures send a signal out to everyone else to give the same considerations. Promoting respect amongst our loved ones is a good practice. I've seen less fortunate families with more love than millionaires could afford, offering bounties of love to each other. What you love should be handled with care. The act was so proper that I started operating in the same manner. Even women that aren't used to this treatment appreciate it. It softens them. If you're extending your love to someone, it should be kind, gentle, understanding, and unconditional. If you can't come to those terms, then you should reconsider the relationship. And if the job and life you created for yourself is not what you bargained for and you aren't satisfied, drop your nuts and press the reset button. I'm not implying that you should drop your responsibilities. I'm imploring you to try different things and learn a few new tools. But if you're waking up and you can say that you're living at least a piece of your dream that you envision for yourself, be thankful. Pause. Thankfulness will take you a long way. That's all. Don't reminisce later about how you had it made or what you could have done. Take advantage of the present and enjoy yourself. Take care of yourself so you can be your best to others. We can all exhibit habits of lashing out at the ones closest to us. It's life. And your people, more likely than not, know your ass is crazy. Make sure they inherit the good in you as well. Learn to have patience with these people. These people can be our sons, daughters, mothers, spouses, and elders. It could be that pet that you leave in the cage all day. Most importantly, be good to yourself. This applies to anyone who considers himself a responsible man, not exclusively someone who has been released from prison and is attempting to process trauma and get their life back on track. The penal system took year upon year from me. Not everyone has this story. Some men just have slipped in the ways that don't reflect their values. It is equally important to lift the man and the household up with positivity. Keep his mind easy and off petty concerns. I say this because he is the provider and protector, and you always want to support and strengthen someone in this position as it benefits the family unit. This is how one hand washes the other. All provisions that come from a provider are not financial. A lot of men coming home from prison can't offer money, but are immaculate cleaners. They take certain action to let you know that they want to make your life easier as well. The presence of a man alone is a protective measure. Wise women understand what offering encouragement does. It cosigns that you believe in the individual. Even though a man can be strong alone, if you whisper the right words in his ears, you may receive twice the effort. This effectively makes you a coach. This writing is not to champion the man. What I'm saying is that if you don't value the man who is honestly trying and make him feel that his efforts are not well received, he may look at his age, his health, his happiness, and then he's tasked to make a decision. This applies to co-parenting as well. For the women who don't let their fathers access their children, some men won't go to court and fight about it. Right or wrong, I'm giving you the facts. You tell a man that the money he gives you from his paychecks is insignificant and doesn't pay real bills, he may stop contributing as much and focus more on himself. The more the man is alienated from being in a parental role, it may be hard for him to identify with his parental instincts later because he wasn't able to develop them in real time. Don't provide the kids with slander and craft their minds to hate the other parent. This is another reason parents remove themselves. It is a parent's worst nightmare to have their legacy toyed with. That can earn you a trip to the graveyard. Ask the people in the jails, the passion murderers, and all the individuals who sacrificed their lives just to make a striking point. Ask them. Many have no regrets. Moral of the story: address your issues in this progressive world. Any problem you can think of, there's more options than excuses. Apply teamwork. Love your folks in this vicious world. Protect them by all means, and don't act like a Karen when you're having a temper tantrum. Contextualize is what I'm saying is that improvements require work. A lot of things we discuss start with self. You are a body of work head to toe. Even reading this book is work. To chase drugs and women requires work. To think, breathe, to dream, the body will work. It is safe to say we will work until we die. Don't get caught up in that bitter, poor, Karen SSI mentality of waiting on things to come or thinking something will be free. Even if all you have to do is put out good energy, start with that. So this chapter rolls so smooth. It was actually one of my shorter chapters, but it was impactful. This is one of the more meat and potato chapters to me. Um, and this is what I'm saying when I say I express the thought process. Like I'm writing a memoir, but also I'm defending my points and my mentality on certain subjects. And I believe that is what the conversation will come to because I know everyone doesn't agree with me. And I wouldn't want everyone to agree with me. I really wouldn't. That's not my aim. I'm just trying to tell a story. I'm walking you somewhere, and then I'm gonna be like, "Hey, you see," and that's it. You know, like I said, I'm 40 years old. I ain't getting no younger. I wrote a book showcasing my life and times throughout my incarcerations, throughout my freedom, throughout my street life, and this is what's going on. And it's a hell of a message. It's a hell of a message. If anybody could bring it to you with utter sincerity and credence, it's definitely me. I've been through all of that, but yeah. So that was Hood Karen's. Um, I guess what I'm really trying to express is the family unit needs to work together and be more cohesive because if we don't if we battling each other internally, or if you as a man are going into your household and disturbing things, there's work to be done. If that household is still available to you, if it's still a household after you're done with it, because um, a lot of times our actions destroy homes. A lot of times our actions destroy families, men and women. It's really they go both ways, and the kids suffer. The kids suffer. I mean, if it was about y'all, if it was death do you part, if you married, the spouse suffer. You suffer. It's no separating. It's tearing it apart because that bond wasn't meant to. It's like a kneecap. That thing ain't supposed to. Nah, it's supposed to bend, but never break. You know, ACL, MCL. Y'all let me pop it tonight. You see, guy from City in the back. You see the angel over the shoulder. That's Malcolm, man. That's how we carrying it right now. That chapter was so short and clean that I kind of want to take you into the next chapter. Can y'all hang out with me a little bit longer? Smile on your face. This chapter here is called Full Blown Suckers. This is chapter 4. And I guess I just read it. Full blown suckers. It's very important for me to overstate the love of family in the chapters above. Now, it's equally important for me to address another insidious type of character that is, in my estimation, even worse than a Karen. The full blown sucker, the FBS in short, is utterly ridiculous and totally inexcusable. An envious and vile person for sure. These types are weak and bogus. If you dislike a person without identifying a valid explanation, you stand to be worse than a Karen. Technically, you are exhibiting Karenisms, but in actuality, you've entered the zone of being a full blown sucker. And if you're actively socializing and pretending to be a friend, you're even more of a bogus lame. You want to strike this attribute from your character completely, entirely. Live and let live. Show everyone respect, whether you have the social advantage, are bigger or smarter. This is insurance. This is insurance. One more time. Like you said, this is insurance. Respect is insurance. All right. Whenever I emphasize something, I want you to take heed to it because that's like these is the focal points of the book. All right. How you doing in there? Yeah. So, uh, respect for some is strictly transactional, like a service fee. And as soon as you violate the contract, you will be viewed differently. Certain doors will lock on you. Respect will almost always benefit you in the end, whether you realize the karma or not. Respect will get you around the world and back. Once I gave a dude a pair of Yeezys. He had recently came home and was in a halfway house. He had on some bright red Jordan runners with patent leather accents. They were disgraceful to see and made little squeaks to my recollection. I crossed paths with bro at interviews and other job opportunities. We bonded instantly. I didn't want to see him go out badly. I gifted him the tennis shoes. Parts of the shoes turned orange in the sunlight. He liked the kicks so much that I gave him that he started buying clothes to complement the shoes. He said tan was his new color. Bro's confidence soared behind the small act as he felt as though my kindness was well received. Plus, I gave him away. Pick up a sneak for emphasis and shit. Uh, we ended up taking a job selling Obama phones outside. Work was scarce and the job was horrible. I had to make myself get out of the house and keep from being a bum. Nothing else was immediately hiring. After running around and trying to secure money from selling the Obama phones, we would go back to my rooming house. It was cold outside and we were starving. I was cooking on a cheap dollar store pan in a hot plate. I thought I was a chef as I attempted to duplicate cheap meals I had previously made in jail. I might have borrowed some of the ingredients from the store to contribute. I was smelling up the clothes on a hanger in my doorless closet like so we probably were eating metal, poisoning ourselves. But I knew this was temporary. I was passing through a period in my life when things were forming. These thoughts kept me secure when my situation wasn't. Nevertheless, the guy come out on pace and usually call me and make a beeline to my spot in the AM. He seldom had money, but always had some loose cigarettes or a blunt. We smoked, gave our phones and tablets, and route. Excuse me. This stuff was trash. Even though the government devices stayed available, nobody was flocking to it. People who did qualify usually didn't have the $10 or $20 upfront processing fee after the devices were activated. Usually have the So we sold them to the next person walking down the block. And after I did that to a few people I felt like who could have benefited from the service, I immediately quit. I knew I was stealing from people in need and not from a thief. I'm not a thief, especially to those doing just as bad or worse than me. Some people like standing in any weather panhandling and have success in that arena. I had to find a better paper route. I didn't really know all the trains, trolleys, and bus routes, so bro showed me how to get around a few places in minutes that would have taken me an hour. This was one of the few things bro taught me, and I was loyal for that. We had been through so many struggles in a short time that it should have bonded us for life. I distinctly remember being in 7-Eleven making a coffee and not being able to pay because I miscounted my last few coins. Either way, I made a steamy cup with hazelnut and French vanilla, and when I realized I had insufficient funds, I had to leave the coffee. This was the first time anything happened to the adult version like this to the adult version of myself. You know the grimace your face make when you hungry and cold? Everywhere I went, people were asking for dollars or to buy them something to eat. Outside of the takeout spots, begging for the sandwich advertised in the window. I was pop flat broke, hopping on every and any plane for the free. I would put light oils on my clothes. I would put light oils and colognes on my soiled jeans to mask the stench they held. I would say, let me buy pants back to life. I think I heard my old folks tell me once, after I had been out, that I smelled like outside. My new philosophy is I'd rather smell like house than outside. It got so real in the winter of 2023, I started donating plasma briefly. Clone Jerome came out, and Clone Jerome was out, the movie, and it instantly came to my head. After the doctors put a battery of tests, I completed a lengthy questionnaire of no less than 50 items. Sometimes my fans and have to pay me for messing up. Some people will watch a tablet or listen to music through the process. It was too invasive for me. I thought about how the plasma can be used to help others. I'm glad to have been able to help someone in the event they needed a blood transfusion. If you get it, you're coming straight back to life. That not totally misleads you. I did have some homegirls that came through and showed me love and reciprocity. I told them, I can't fuck you on an empty stomach. They'll give me food, money, and assist me with rides. A beautiful woman let me use her car to regain my license when my other plans fell through. These little saving graces got me further faster. Being fresh out had me playing palms up instead of coming across as vulgar. My honesty was rare. They were refreshed to know an earth tone vibe. Eventually, my taxes came back and things got significantly better to the point I was able to secure a vehicle. I was proud of my little hoodie, a Mazda 5, fresh out the Badlands. I was rolling. The job started coming in. I was grooming myself better, sending bread to my kids. I was giving my homie rides at first. I wasn't tripping, but he didn't notice a shift because he wasn't changing. Things he would usually do on the train, now he wanted to ride. We worked together, hung together, etc. It was too much. He felt comfortable glued to my side, and he felt entitled. He would spill shit, take calls while the radio was playing, touch the radio. It felt a little creepy because I never got nothing out of hanging with a grown ass man, having a grown ass man in my face all day for nothing. I never get jiggy with that. I'm not a pack animal. I'm not gay, nor do I need protection from anyone. And I wasn't looking for validation. And these is all facts that I casually mentioned. One day out of the blue, he showed me a check for about 2,000 that came in the mail. It was unexpected. He was excited and jittery. I saw the envelope burn a hole in his pocket at the prospect of him cashing out on his unexpected windfall. I was happy for him. He made me countless plans. I told him, bro, grab a car. I didn't want any of his money. He dismissed my advice and countered, I'ma flip it first. My three words never reached him. This man ended up buying some low grade weed, bagged it up, and passed it out on the streets only to take losses. He took the last money to the casino to revive his poker career. I couldn't endorse the buffoonery. My movements became more stealthier, and he became more sloppier and careless. Now, these are common occurrences. This is the reason we have to set boundaries. I didn't care that he had other plans. My issue was him trying to become codependent on me and see how far he could use me instead of doing for himself. Lame as hell. As a man, you won't always have your own, but that should always be cool. It was irritating watching this man go blunder for blunder, but I just doubled down on attending to my own affairs. It's always healthy to tell people no directly with full eye contact. It may seem awkward, but get used to it. Blurt it out. It's imperative to let people hear this. This is your natural defense mechanism God equipped you with to stay out of weird situations. Just say no out of the blue and watch how many people move on and see how creative they can be to find another way. This dude almost didn't make the book, but since we're addressing Karenisms and other foolishness, why not give an example of a sucker who would try to stay close to you and secretly envy you? Like a helpless woman strung to the man that pays the bills but treats her badly. A Karen masquerading as an ally. They wear your clothes, practice your nuances, then disparage you in your absence. These things are all standard from these low quality jesters. He called me for some drama one morning. I could feel the urgency in his demeanor. He had been going back and forth with someone over something. The disrespect had been established. I'm the one he felt confident to consult in his moment of distress and uncertainty. He needed my support. I never called a man for another man to address anything with me or for me. I'm not even wired like that. In one of my favorite movies, Brad Pitt plays Jesse James, named Robert Ford, who was in the gang, kills Jesse, shoots him as his back is turned. The whole time, Jesse James was Robert Ford's idol. After Robert backdoored Jesse and collected the reward money, he went on to reenact the incident in theaters, trying to make a living doing plays, assuming valor and searching for accolades. He thought he would go down in history as the legend for killing an infamous outlaw, but he really went down like a full-blown sucker. The audience turned the audience saw him as a turncoat and were hurled drinks and fruit at him. That's why everyone needs to screen their people a little closer. If you let someone cleave on to you and you didn't assess them clearly enough to know their character, you are moving with reckless abandon. By the time one of their many weaknesses comes to surface, they already morphed into something you never seen before. Eventually, my hater homie started seeing a young lady a few years his junior, a cool regular chick that was his speed. She was a lifesaver for bro. Yeah, he would call me to complain. She's too this, she's too that. Understandably, women are hard to figure out, and some men do vent to other men about their women. But if you have the audacity to belittle and complain about a person that rescued you from a state facility to a home and let you drive their vehicle, that was the tale. A glitch I couldn't turn a blind eye to. Soon I realized that if he could operate in this way with a person who helped him 10 times more than me, then he would betray anyone. Soon after we stopped hanging out, he still would call me from time to time. So one day he just called me but didn't get through. He was so gassed up to eat the flesh out my back. He accidentally left some venom on my answering machine to a person we both knew. I listened to the message. Before I realized what he was doing, he had already exposed his true intentions. He hung the phone up quickly. I always knew that he felt some type of way, but confirming it made it factual. I don't know how they still manufacture dudes like this in society. Back flesh must taste like lobster tail or chicken. People truly have a heartening to eat your back out. Can you imagine going to the restaurant to have tea and place an order to the waiter? Yes, I have a healthy serving out of a nigger's back. And the waiter would need to ask, what part of the nigger's back would you like, sir? Then the backbiting, slanderous scoundrel would say, let me get that center back, right below the shoulder blades, for he may never know I gouged him. This exhibits the behavior of a cannibal, a disloyal cannibal. In terms of moving a particular way or following advice, in terms of moving a particular way or following my advice, I'm not faulting anyone for having a learning disability or FOBO, which is fear of better options. Some things don't resonate. You could expect me to build a house, but if I didn't have the knowledge, you operating off of a false expectation. Okay. My big cousin Kai, bear with me, y'all. Getting a little tired, but it's important that I finish this off with y'all because it's a real talk. My big cousin Tasha imparted this profound wisdom on me after I asked her a general, why do some people question? She responded saying, what could be simple for you could be damn near impossible for another person. Where the problem lies is that when these same people become intimidated by your victories as you display love for them, that's the sin for me. People will know that they are dead weight pulling you down and be okay with it. They spent anything and everything they had last night and still want to ride off nothingness. They don't value manhood in a traditional earn your keep sort of way. You went in front of the honor pleading and tapping out. So have honor when a person that looks like you and struggles alongside you makes an improvement on themselves. Hating on your neighbor or brother is lame because it shows that you don't have the confidence and the ability to do you. And trust, whatever God has for you, no man can take or spoil except for yourself. It should never be get a car and lose a friend or prosper in front of the ones you've been in the trenches with and stun on them. But if you rising up and the other party is voluntarily stuck, leave them where they are. You can't want for a person what they don't require from themselves. That's the breeding ground for a lot of fallouts. You may not be as fortunate as me to detect these suckers, but usually you can see right through them like glass. You see right through them like you know what I mean. Uh, and I still love my brother. As much as I like to cast a super thorough image of myself, no one is impervious to sucker shit. Let's stop the tape for a minute. Nobody's impervious to sucker shit. Me personally, I did sucker shit. You, you may have been subject to do some sucker shit, but we human and things happen. And like I said, I still love my brother, even though he called me on fluky missions. He backbit me. He wore my clothes. He practiced my nuances and all that. I love my brother. I hope success with my brother. All right, shit happens. Sometimes niggas is just disloyal to the fucking to the ground level and then some, and that's fine. I ain't raised these niggas. I just met them and tried to give them a little bit of game and things. All right. Um, and I still love my brother as much as I like to cast a super thorough image of myself. No one's impervious to sucker shit. As we understand the nature of human beings as it relates to environmental factors, it's growth to learn from one mistake and reemerge as a greater version of themselves. But not over here. I wish you the best, homie. And I ain't holding no grudges, but you're not gonna shake back over here ever again in life. All right. Karens and full-blown suckers are also on different job sites harassing and antagonizing employees who are new and sense they have something to lose. I witnessed this numerous times. It's referred to as tricking one out of their spot. They may have been at the company for some time and never have elevated or really just aren't happy. Shame on these gatekeeping underhanded characters as well. Men contributing to the hardships of others on a job place is ridiculous but not uncommon. Stopping someone's money is never an acceptable form of being competitive. That's hate. The lowest paying jobs are sometimes the biggest headaches and the work is more tedious. Now, if you're dropping loads off the forklift or are literate at a key part of your computer job, then that's different. Everything is an attack against you. You have to be fair in your evaluation. Never is it appropriate for these goofies to bait people. Check these people would never worry about going back and forth with them. They are known as energy thieves, and they speak to annoy and complicate your shift. They may not be able to command the proper attention at home or lack a certain confidence. They may be disgruntled for something as simple as your youthful appearance. They may not have as much hair or as many teeth. You may get a different response from a superior that they've been set on impressing. You have to set your mind up to know that getting money is the priority. I wouldn't stay in a place where I was truly unhappy, but I would make a plan to leave rather than just quit. And when the job is hard or low paying, I try to save more money because of how hard I have to go to obtain the money. For example, if I dig ditches for a living, I'm not going to the bar and spend all my money drinking over the weekend so I could be broke and looking at a ditch on Monday morning. I feel better saving a few checks before reconsidering another position. Hopefully, you're not solely relying on one source of income and have some skills that you can use. That was a good chapter, but shit, I rather had just spoke to you. I got a good book though. So to to quickly go over the last chapter, full blown suckers, and I gave you an example of a guy um, that I thought we was gonna be friends for a long time. We've been through a lot of stuff. Um, I gifted him some shoes. I gifted him some clothes. I fed him. Um, he gifted me some shit, some weed, some cigarettes. We got high together. He really ain't had shit, but it's cool. He introduced me to some people. Probably went behind my back and back with me now, but At the time, it was, it was whatever. But you got to watch these characters you're around. Isn't going to be said. Everything you're not going to see. Sometimes you can be so trusting that you'll turn a blind eye to a lot of things. You have to be vigilant about who's in your space. You have to be honest about who's killing your energy and who's taking your energy down. You know what I'm saying? I had to break off from them boys, man. So I hope you got something out of this chapter. And we're gonna take the book up a notch. It only get better from here. I explained to you on how to deal with suckers, full blown suckers, blicky block blah blam. You gotta stay away from them suckers, man, for sure. But in the meantime, I hope you enjoyed my work. Like I said, this is my life, and we got about this much more to go. So we 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 in shape for a good book.